Be that as it may, of course, many Nigerians, see that every other day it's one hurdle or the other to cross. Now, realizing that we wasted so much energy also in what I would call JoJo, or maybe dragging so many issues. When we were fortunate to be part of the Ninth Assembly at inception, many of us who were members of the Eighth Assembly decided that you grow when you learn from your mistakes. And so we wanted a Ninth Senate that was going to be different. And that was why early on we took on the leadership challenge. And of course, I was part of the team that canvassed for the leadership of Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal. And we did this because we believed we need to create harmony. We need to reduce the rancor that the last assembly witnessed. And to God be the glory, we were able to achieve that. And for that reason, we all collectively, all the 109 senators of the 9th Senate, decided that we want a Senate that works for Nigerian people. Now, immediately that was done, of course, we took on our legislative agenda. And one of the things we did in the legislative agenda, I would say we had more or less like 4 to 5 planks of issues we wanted to take. First, we wanted to look at some bills that have been intractable, such as the PIB, and then the issue of the offshore, bill. We took those on, and in 2019, before we just barely 6 months, we were able to pass that bill that talked about the offshore, that is, issue in the petroleum industry. It was a bill that was left unattended to, and we believed it was a bill that had a timing within which certain things must happen. And for 20 years, nothing happened. And that was a huge loss for the country. So we took that on, and that was our first major intervention. Now, beyond that, we also decided to reverse the trend where our budget cycle was not determinate. You cannot even say when your budget is supposed to start. And we looked at the Constitution and said the Constitution provides that we should have 1 year cycle. And our 1 year cycle starts from January to December. So we worked very hard to restore back the January to December budget cycle. And that did a lot of good. In spite of the challenges of the COVID-19 and all the other things, Nigerian economy would have been worse off if the old order was allowed to subsist. But we were able to reverse that, and of course, the economy is not very, very good. But of course, this is a global challenge. Nigeria is not an exception. But be that as it may, the challenge for us then was to make sure that we get it right. And we were able to do that. So year on year, 2020, 2021, 2022, we have been able to restore that. And by the grace of God, 2023, we intend to do that, because that is one legacy we would like all the subsequent assemblies to maintain, because that is what the Constitution guarantees. Now, the other aspect is the PIB, which everybody knew is like, a deal document. When, people come in, so many people, try to strike their deals, and Nigeria was left just like that, dry. And our leadership under Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal said, no, we are committed to making this assembly the assembly for Nigerian people. So that was our commitment, and of course we went into it. It was a lot of work, because it also happened that while we are working on this, the COVID-19 pandemic came on board, and of course you knew we had to suspend plenary, and work was now more or less low. But during that period, despite the fact that we suspended plenary, the leadership, both the House and the Senate, decided that we must make ourselves available on behalf of our own members to have interface with the executive. And it was through those periods of the interface with the executive we were able to actually deal with the issue of the PIB the way it's supposed to be dealt with. And at the end of the day, the PIB was passed. Am I working with NNPC? I'm not working with NNPC. I don't have the facts here to come and give you a percentage. If you want, I think you should gladly invite people with the NNPC to come here and explain to Nigerians what they are doing. They will give you the facts. But what I can say for a fact is that I know the turnaround maintenance is ongoing. I have no doubt about that. And I believe, coupled with that, and coupled with, of course, the private sector investment by Dangote refinery, when all of these things come on board, then Nigerians will heave a new sigh of relief. And coupled with other infrastructural development, like the Nigerian gas project that is ongoing, trying to make sure that there is gas network across the country, all of these things is going to help to bring a new regime whereby people will see ease in the economy and in their life. You know, the economy, the issue of security is still there. And, you know, it's not so much about the lack of effort. It's not so much about the lack of, you know, programs or, you know, funding. It is so much about the fact that these are issues that have been with us, which we inherited. And for them to get away, it's not going to be an easy task. But I also want to submit very clearly that even with the issue of security, a lot has been done. Because by the time we took off in 2015, everybody was a witness to the fact that bombs were detonating in different parts of this country. People tend to forget that even in Abuja, many people were suddenly becoming very afraid of even going to motor parks. Yanya was bombed. Suleja, there was bombing. Even in the middle of the CB, that is Central Business District, just around the Ministry of Justice. You know, so all of these things are things people forget. How did we get this reversal? It is the effort of the government as they came on board, and the security agencies, all of them, both the military, paramilitary, and all the others, all of them, everybody contributed their little quota. It was the iceberg that, you know, brought down the Titanic. So when you are dealing with an informal system, it's not something that you can come out and be boasting, because who are you dealing with? You don't even know who they are. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they are. You don't know where you can meet them. You know, so it's a lot of challenge, and that's why, obviously, every single Nigerian has a role to play, because the bulk of these criminals reside within the country. They have support services being provided by some Nigerians. You know, they know where they are. So, but like I would say, the renewed effort of the government and the security chiefs has given us confidence that if this present effort is sustained, definitely a time will come in which we will only begin to talk about the history of what we have passed through. Nigeria will heave a new sigh of relief, and I have no doubt in my mind that under a APC government, that can happen. We strongly are in support of all things that will empower the youth, because the youth are the future of this country, and they represent the largest population. At least at the last count, if I'm not mistaken, they are running to about 57 from what we are told, being, you know, those demographic that you call youth. So to ignore the youth at any time is to begin to say, look, you're inviting crisis for yourself. So for us in the parliament, anything that comes around to deal with issues of youth is number one. Just yesterday, I represented the Senate President at the Nigerian Startup Bill public hearing. And the Startup Bill is designed to look at entrepreneurship, skills development, and enterprise development by Nigerian youth who are mostly making it using the present digital economy system to see what they can do to make a difference. Just now, as I'm sitting down here, you were advertising AgriChain. I believe it's a young group of young Nigerians putting it together, trying to say that, look, you can do things differently using, you know, the present blockchain technology and the like. So things like this, that makes them a startup. So this bill is designed to promote and support young Nigerians who are having very great ideas, and they want to see those ideas promoted even into the global arena. So that yesterday just happened. And the same yesterday again, we also had a bill sponsored by one of my distinguished brothers, Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar, representing Kwara North, who sponsored, you know, student loan aid scheme. Remember those days, there used to be what they call student loans board. There are a lot of Nigerians who are very brilliant, but their, you know, parents are, you know, what do they call it, incapable of sponsoring them. And through the student loan board scheme, they are able to expand opportunities for the Nigerian youth. So, like I said, there are many things we've been doing. Before now, I know even the social intervention scheme was all targeting the, you know, the youth, designed to promote, you know, youth enterprise and any other thing they are doing. We had programs under SMIDAN, we had programs under Ministry of Industry Trade and Investment, and even the Ministry of Science and Technology, they have their own type of projects. Ministry of Labor, under the NDE, also have their programs. So there is quite a number of things. But you see, all of these things, the basic challenge is that until everything pulls through, security, infrastructure, the ease of doing business. Remember, we promoted the ease of doing business in the National Assembly, where I remember starting from the 8th Assembly, and we continue with some of those good work, because many of those of us who were in the 8th Assembly are in the 9th Assembly, so we know what happened, where we looked at all the bills that will ease the, what did they call it, the ease of doing business. And those things are there to help to promote what Nigerian youths do. Within the context of the education, yes, unfortunately, ASU is on strike due to issues that started as far back as 2009, when Nigeria had all the money you can think about. Nothing was done on, we inherited this, but we're not sleeping on our oars. Despite the challenge of the economy, we're trying our best to see what we can do. And I believe even at the National Assembly, the Senate President had intervened on this matter on several fronts. And the federal government, I believe, is dealing with it, so that this time around, when they get it right, the whole issues can be resolved. And, a lot of Nigerians need to know the way the National Assembly works. It's quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in that particular ugly situation. The truth of the matter is that when you are amending a bill, we have a way we work. You don't bring the entire document. You bring in the components that you are trying to amend. And I want to make it very categorical and to put it on record that the National Assembly did not amend that particular section. We did not amend it. It wasn't part of the sections that were up for amendment. And that was why we were shocked. If you look at it, you will see it is the "and." That "and" to the end of it, that half sentence is what we don't know how it was removed. Remember, when we pass this thing through the chamber, it goes through the management of the National Assembly, through the legal department, through so many other clearing mechanisms that they have, which is outside our own jurisdiction. The transmission is done by the clerk to the National Assembly. So as I sit here, just like any of my colleagues in the two chambers, we are at a loss as to how that component was removed. By who? We don't know. 84 because I will tell you, it is not simply that it was part of the things we amended. Because if it was part of the things we amended, how on earth can over 400 people disenfranchise themselves? How can we disenfranchise ourselves from participating in the primaries? It's not possible. But it has happened, and we believe definitely it has to be reversed, because there was no way where it was intended that only these delegates will decide the fate. Like somebody was telling me, there are some states to decide the fate of, what did they call it? The delegates are how many? Like in the, he was citing one political party. There are only seven. He said there are seven. No, that is for APC. Okay. There are some in which it is 1-1. He said they have 7 wards, and so there are 7 delegates. And meanwhile, there are 5 people looking for the post. So which means the man who is lucky to have 2 or 3 is the one. So 3 people have decided on behalf of this. So it's a very bad thing. I don't think that was the intendment, and Nigerians have to understand this. We are working in a system, and that system, no matter what, we own up to the responsibility of the fact that something went wrong. But definitely, I want to place it on record that it was not one of those things that was up for amendment. If it was one of those things that was up for amendment, I'm sure you will have had all the hello. Many instances they are being downplayed, they are being misrepresented, they are being misinterpreted, or they are even not even communicated at all. But one little thing, the whole world will just descend on the National Assembly. And when you do that, some people can stand up to it, some people will not. They will recoil back into their shell and allow it to go on the way it is. And when that continues to happen, a day will come in which people will say, to hell with this National Assembly. To hell with... And when you say to hell with National Assembly, you know what you're saying? To hell with democracy. It's as simple as that. Remove National Assembly, there's no democracy. So I think Nigerians ought to understand, no matter how bad, National Assembly, and that's why we have public hearings. Okay, like yesterday, I represented the Senate President at the public hearing on the Nigerian Startup Bill. The Nigerian Startup Bill, like I said, is all designed to provide a platform where government must support startups in the digital economy.
National Assembly, there's no democracy and his rights. And I wish I can also add that if there's no Abdullahi Sabi, Emmanuel Sabi, then there's no National Assembly and no democracy. Because he's always there, and you can see how intelligently he addressed most of the issues, and even though there are many things we wanted to talk about.